This podcast was created during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Fortunately for us, the WGA seems to have reached a tentative agreement with AMTPT. However, SAG-AFTRA has not yet. So please continue to support the Entertainment Community Fund. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thanks.
Morghese, the Queen of Andor, has issued the following proclamation. This podcast shall be discussing the most recent episode of Wheel of Time. If you have not seen that episode and do not wish to be spoiled, go witness the Dragon Reborn in the latest episode and then return. So it is written, so shall it be done.
You know what she does? She makes like this smoked carrot that pretends to be salmon. That is really good.
Welcome to Bustin' Blockbusters. My name is Matt, and as you just heard, pretty much we have wakened from the dream. Season 2 is over. It is dead. Everybody has already talked about it already. We're behind, as usual. I'm Matt, by the way. I've got Priscilla and Bubba with me. You can find him at Fit and Trim. You can find her on YouTube at Priscilla TV1. And despite the fact that we have woken from the dream, it's still time that we talk about this because we haven't had a chance to. And I don't want to waste any more time. As you already heard, I gave an initial reaction where I gave my rating. So let's get to everybody else's ratings.
The court of Morghese, Queen of Andor, is now in session. The Queen will now hear proclamations of ratings for this episode of Wheel of Time.
Priscilla, why don't you start with your rating for this episode, and then later we'll talk about the season.
Well, first I will have to say that I had to top you. I had to give like a higher score, right, than you. So it's like 9.5 double Fs.
Double Fs?
Yeah, fantastic final. So it was fun. I really, really like it. I really like it from an emotional standpoint. You know, I think it had momentum. It had like some nice, like ending arcs for like Egwene, and there is enough there to make you interested and wonder what is going to happen in season 3. I had to say also that the fact that they had like the title sequence also bumped up the score because I love the title sequence, and it's not perfect by any means. There are things there that I think because they just had 8 episodes, they couldn't spend too much time on some resolutions as much as I would like. But I like it that they left some rumors about the Lady of Carrion. So that's Celine for you, or Lanfear. So she was going all the way from Gai'don to Loyal and Inta, and you didn't get to see this on screen, but like her presence was mentioned by both of them. Like you saw her with Gai'don, but it was mentioned, so you had the feeling that there was something that she was the mastermind of what was going on the whole season, and just finally in episode 8 you can see that, and I like that. But on the other hand, I also didn't like that because we didn't get to see the horn, how they got the horn. We just know that Lanfear helped. But anyway, I think with the time that they had and the things that they have to solve, they did a good job. It's just like an hour and 5 minutes. They had a lot of plot points to go through, and I feel that they did a good job. Not perfect, but it got me emotional. in at least twice. And that's what I want from a TV series. Not that it makes sense all the time, not that answer all my questions all the time, just that it makes me feel something. And this definitely made me feel something.
Excellent. Well, just in case, folks, you're wondering what episode we're rating, Season 2, Episode 8, What Was Meant to Be, written by the showrunner Rafe Judkins and by Timothy Earl, directed by Sana Hamry. Your synopsis: fate leads Rand and the others to an inevitable showdown with their most formidable enemies yet. Bubba, how would you rate that synopsis?
That sounds exactly like what happened in the episode. Great job, Matt.
Okay.
I'd rate your reading of the synopsis maybe a 5.
Yeah, out of 10.
Right. But I want to talk about this final episode of Season 2, and I'm not going to rate it as high as you guys do. For anybody new or can't remember, I'm the non-book reader. I have no idea where the story's going. So my rating won't be so high, but it's still going to be 9 triple C's out of 10.
Triple C's?
Yes, triple C's. It's a clunky cinematic conclusion, right? So episode 10 should be about momentum. And there were a handful of moments where instead of like rolling downhill to the incredible solution, it's like bump, we can't get moving because we got to resolve stuff like Lan and Moiraine, like hashtag get on with it. But it is cinematic. So much good stuff. Egwene Unchained, hell to the yeah. Take back your life, Egwene. Yes. Matt, this character I've been hearing about for 2 seasons, actually doing something that affects the story. Yes. Uno, you're back. Yes. Lanfear betraying Ishamael. Love it. Hashtag great. Moiraine burning the boats. Hell to the yeah. The Forsaken released, setting up next season. Uh-oh. Pour one out for some of these great villains like Ishamael and Rena. Great episode that at times couldn't get out of its own way and was clunky. But the good stuff was great. 9 out of 10 from a non-book reader.
That's pretty high rating for Bubba's scale, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So,
It was really good.
Considering his little knocks there, that actually seems pretty good. As you folks may or may not know, I'll just say my rating real quick. I gave it 9.4 out of 10, what I like to call Shattered Shields.
Whoa.
That's a double S.
Yes.
And I enjoyed the finale. There were a lot of adaptation choices that were made that I'm cool with, you know. I like Priscilla. I really like Lanfear kind of having her hand in everything behind the scenes for the whole season. I thought that was cool. Maybe a little bit too far stretched. But the biggest thing that took a point off for me is because, or a half a point off for me, is because, you know, I really wanted to have something to complain about Rand about this episode, and I didn't have anything to complain about Rand at all. And I actually wanted a really cheesy battle in the sky for book readers. You know what I'm talking about. But I did think that, you know, bringing all of the Ta'veren there together to help fight Ishamael was a good substitute. And we still had a lot of book things happen, maybe not in the same order, but Rand did get his brand. Rand did get his wound. All of those things play big in terms of some prophecies and also just in some handicaps as well. So love that.
Yeah.
Now, as we are wrapping up this show, or our coverage of this show, we thought we should also do our ratings for the season as well overall. Priscilla, do you want to go first, or do you want Bubba to go first?
I think Bubba, he's so much better than me in this rating. I think he should go first, and then I copy what he says.
All right, well, let's get to it. So this is season 2. Everybody I hear online says, oh, this is so much better than season 1. This is so much better than season 1. As a non-book reader, I got to contradict him and say, no, it's so much better than season 1. That said, still clunkiness. I'm going to only give it 8 out of 10, what I like to call double S's.
Wait, double S's?
Double S's.
Seriously, season? And that is, at the end of season 1, it kind of became clear to me, somebody who didn't know the story, but I see the end of season 1, I'm like, oh, you're trying to tell this type of story. But you kind of added all these side tangents and other story points, which made the overall season clunky and muddled. And admittedly, I think there's still some of the same issues here. Like, if this was the end point, not that I didn't like the Aiel, for example, but they really just kind of show up, help a little bit in the fight, but they didn't really have much of a part in this story. And so there's all this always other stuff. There's this other stuff. And then I have been a broken record on Lan being a broken record about I'm mopey Lan. Okay. We separated these two so they could come back together in episode 10. We took away Moiraine's powers just so she could come back. To me, both of these storylines felt pointless. Like, literally, if you're gonna separate them, their coming back together has to have more emotional stakes, more story stakes than I felt it did. If you're gonna strip Moiraine of her power and then suddenly give it back to her, to me, it's gonna have more of a point. It just felt like we need something for them to do. So some of that clunkiness still held down this season from being a 9 out of 10 for me. But just so everybody knows, I'm still engrossed with this story. I think it has made such a jump from season 1 to season 2. If it makes the same jump from season 2 to season 3, I think it could get to 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 realm in my rating. But for me, 8 out of 10.
Excellent. Priscilla, how about you?
Well, I'm giving 8.5, and I have to say that I have the feeling, I don't know if this is going to be the truth, but I think the Wheel of Time is setting up to be that kind of series that improves each season. So there is a learning curve that we can talk about. Like, first season, I understand this world, but I'm still I'm on book 4, but it's so rich, and there is 14 of these books, and there is so many characters, and I already talked about it a little bit, how this concept that is not new, but Robert Jordan, he made this so that the magic system is so dangerous that it can kill people. And how it affected other areas of the entertainment industry. I mentioned a game, that Dragon Age, but you can also feel the influence, I think, in A Song of Ice and Fire in terms of the scope and the numbers of characters and stuff. So I feel like this first season, they had to introduce so many characters, so many parts of this world that I have to be a little bit lenient with them the first season. So that's why in terms of just watching as an audience, I would say that first season was a 7, but I understood that it couldn't possibly be better than 7 with the tools they were given, the time and everything, and the number of episodes. So I understand. This sense, when they come to season 2, where they already had established so many things in season 1, they managed to keep going deeper and deeper on some levels. We saw a lot of things. I understand that Bubba didn't like the Lan storyline. I also didn't like. I think it could have been cut by half of what he was doing, and we could have seen him at least investigating the thing with Moiraine, but they just made him realize in one episode when they could be parsed out through a couple of episodes, more or less, so to give him what to do. But for instance, I loved seeing Moiraine and her family. I loved going deep into Cairhien, and it made the revelation of Barthanes being a dark friend a little bit shocking, because you got to see Barthanes, you got to see his mother, you got to see that family, and when you go to the books, the revelation of Barthanes being it's nothing. There is no drama there. So I could not say that like some of the decisions they made in this season that I disagree with. No, because from an emotional standpoint, they got me. But I'm very curious to know to learn how they are going to move forward, because we also already talked about it. But if they are going to be adapting this story, of course, there is a character that doesn't appear very much in one book, but appears in another. So they have to combine these storylines. And they had this thing with Moiraine, because she's played by Rosamund Pike. They had to give her something, and it was one of the high points for me. Something that we didn't see much in the books, you know. When you go to Egwene's storyline, that was like, it carried the second half of the season, to me at least, like emotionally. And I saw a lot of people complaining about that the Nynaeve arc, that in the first half of the season was very strong, and then it kept dropping and dropping and dropping. But this is not like I understand this series as an ensemble. So there are people that have a moment to shine here and a moment to shine there. And specifically in Nynaeve and Egwene and Moiraine and Elaine, and a little bit of Rand too, because remember, Rand is the biggest. He's the hero. He's the greatest channeler. He's the most powerful one. But when he meets Swan, she takes him like this. So I feel like the point that they were trying to make with all these discussions about the power, and then you have Liandrin reminding Egwene, yeah, Nynaeve is a powerhouse, but what does it serve her? She has a block. She has to survive to be a powerhouse, and she cannot. So you see that in the storyline, you see that in effect, that you can be the biggest, the greatest, you have the most access to the one power, but sometimes it's intelligence that gets you, sometimes it's training that gets you. And this, you're seeing that Rand doesn't have. So he's not the dragon yet. He has been declared the dragon, and that's going to be the story moving forward, how he's going to get there. He has the potential, but how he's going to get there. And this, I felt it was done perfectly. Like this discussion about, yeah, you're powerful, but what else? It's just that. You just have this possibility, and what can you make out of it? So in this sense, I really like the season. I think a lot of things didn't work. A lot of things they could have done better. A lot of things were improved, but again, they made me cry. They made me feel anger. They made me root for people. They made me understand some motivations. So I cannot complain much, you know.
Well, I like all of your reasoning there, Priscilla. I gave it naturally, because it's me. I gave it a higher rating for the season than everybody else.
Whoa.
I gave it a 9 out of 10, what I like to call double A's.
Double A's.
Yeah, adaptation accolades is what I gave it.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a mouthful. But Moiraine, as Priscilla mentioned, essentially has nothing to do in book 2. She goes around, she looks up some prophecies, and that's essentially it. So they did have to give her a storyline. Here's my problem with what Rafe seems to be trending to do, is that he tries to take one question and turn it into a mystery to a point where it gets so focused on that things kind of go astray from it sometimes. In season 1, it was the mystery of who is the dragon reborn. When you're a book reader, you know that almost immediately. You can put it together immediately. But they used 7 episodes to get to a reveal right before the end. That's fine. That's a great television thing to do. But I do think some of the story stuff got a little weird because of that. In this season, the big mystery was, has Moiraine lost her powers forever? Is she stilled, or is she shielded? And by going this route at the end of episode 7, again, wrap it all up in the last 10 minutes and everything. It just feels like there was a lot of buildup to something that could have
Mm-hmm.
been, as Priscilla said, you could have used some of Lan's storyline to see him looking through Tower records, finding things out. But maybe, just like with the whole Rand thing, where they kind of did a misdirection thing about him being the Dragon Reborn in the first season, maybe they couldn't do that because the revelations that he would come to would spoil the, quote unquote mystery. And I think that that's a bad approach to do that. And I don't know if Rafe is getting a good studio, or if he's getting studio notes to do it like that between seasons or before he even started, or if it's his choice. But either way, I'm really not for that. I hope that we don't have this big overarching mystery next season. I hope we just get to, because we are getting good character moments. We can get more of those. We had to condense a whole bit of Matt's storyline into just blowing on a horn to give a whole bunch of things that happen into later books meaning now, because it doesn't, because they're not going to have time for that, as opposed to what I would feel would be a good mystery. I'm just going to say a few terms that if you haven't read the books, you don't know, and they won't spoil you. Foxes and snakes, doorways. To me, it feels like it's gone because of Matt. And to me, those are some of the storylines that really endear me to Matt as a character. But instead, we had to focus on, is she or isn't she stilled? Is she or isn't she shielded? And so we got very little Matt this season, stuff that they could have developed, and him still end up in the same place. Granted, it would have been a little bit out of order. But for all of that, I mean, for all of my griping here, I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10 because they did so many things right. They made so many good choices to get characters into the position to get back closer to the books than they, the end of season 1 left them. And so I think that we will see a continued progression of just getting more epic as we go along, so long as Amazon is still willing to pay the price for it.
Well, season 3 is coming. That's wonderful. After this great kind of tease of what could happen in future seasons, thank goodness they're making season 3. It's guaranteed. Love it.
So it is written, so shall it be done.
So, folks, I know that you don't care what I think about any of this at all. I hope that you do care what Priscilla and Bubba think, because Bubba's got a good non-book reader perspective. Priscilla's excited about it as still a fairly new reader. She's not even read really a fifth of the series yet.
Oh, you keep dropping me. No,
Well, maybe a fourth of the series. We'll say a fourth of the series.
Now I'm a fifth.
Yeah, you're right.
Next time it's like a 10th.
Right.
Oh,
She's read 1/20th of the series.
The point being is spoil Priscilla, spoil Bubba. That's what I want you to do. I want you to spoil the crap out of them by sending them your book reader thoughts. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that, folks. I mean, Priscilla goes and reads spoilers every other day anyway, but given the storylines that she seems to know, that I'm kind of like, but wait a minute, that's book 7. But anyway, don't spoil Bubba. But do tweet to it at the word double the letters PHQ on Twitter or X or whatever Elon Musk is calling it. I'm sorry, David McGarry. I should just call it X Twitter. And you can tweet me or X me. You can send posts to me at Bust Blockbuster on X Twitter. You can also leave comments in our YouTube videos. Also, be sure to check out Priscilla's YouTube videos at Priscilla TV1 on YouTube. And you can comment on our YouTube videos at the word double, the letter P, the word media. Double PHQ actually works for all of the Double P Media socials. That's like Instagram, Twitter, and Threads, and whatever else that Bubba has dabbled in. I don't know. Are you in Hive? Do you have anything like that? But whatever. Just search for the word double, the letters PHQ. That stands for Podcast Headquarters, PHQ. So that's all you need to know for us. I will say that I was hoping to get a little more feedback in regards to our contest, but we only had 2 entrants into our contest.
Wonderful. These two deserve it. They have a 50% chance to win. This is wonderful.
And I am going to share a screen, and we are going to pick the winner now. We have Melissa Nola, 30, and we have Tails Yukai, also known as Lugerin, I think. And so what we are going to do is I'm going to ask Priscilla to tell me when to spin this wheel, and we're going to spin it, and whatever name comes up is the winner of a $100 gift card from Amazon.
Hell yeah.
Priscilla, you tell me when.
Spin now.
Big money, big money, big money. No whammies.
Melissa Nola, 730 is our winner. Melissa Nola, 730. You are our winner. Congratulations. You were the first to enter properly. We did have one other contestant who got 3 out of the 4 right, but I couldn't include him in the drawing or in the wheel spin because they only got 3 out of the 4 right. But thanks to everyone who attempted or participated or completely ignored. Just as long as you heard the word contest, that's all I care about. And what you do with that word after that is completely up to you. Melissa Nola, 730. I'm assuming you're from New Orleans. I'm assuming that NOLA stands from New Orleans. I'm not going to be in New Orleans anytime soon to hand this to you personally. So what I need you to do is send an email to me, mattsaudioblog@gmail.com, MATTSAUDIOBLOG, all one word, @gmail.com with whatever email account your Amazon, I promise I'm not trying to fish your information, whatever email account you have associated with Amazon so that I can just award that gift card directly to your account, or just an email that I can send it to. But it's easier on you if you use the one that you use for your Amazon. But just send me an email saying, hey, here I am. Here's the email address I want you to use to award this gift card to. That's what I will do. You have won a $100 gift card. Thank you so much for participating.
Oh, yeah.
Let me say, all our listeners are really the winners. You're all winners in my heart. It's just, nobody but Melissa actually wins. So you're all winners who didn't win, except Melissa. All right, guys, I've got some questions. I am repeating ad nauseum that I am the non-book reader. I'm the one who has to put together all this dense mythology just from what's on the show. So the first thing I want to do is not a question so much as, well, it is a question. Do I have the story correct? So I'm going to read what I wrote, or what I believe to be the story, based on 2 seasons of The Wheel of Time. And what do I mean by the story? I mean the kind of prehistory to the story. So to me, there's this evil person or entity or being that's known as the Dark One. This evil entity, the Dark One. It might be a person, as you might think a person is. It could be an entity, whatever. Way back in history, I think about 3,000 years, this person named Luz Theron and his buddies, they're all channeling the One Power. Luz realizes that his buddies who are channeling the One Power are turning to the shadow. They're turning to the Dark One side. So he starts locking his friends in these plates, in these ceramics, whatever they are. He locks them in there, and that's what happened to Ishmael. And they're all forsaken when he locks them in. And he does that because if he killed them, they would just be reborn in the wheel, and he wouldn't really kind of stop them from being. Then at a certain point, Luz does something to fight the Dark One, and he breaks the world. So is that correct? Is that history, which I think is what I'm supposed to take from this? Is that the background history I'm supposed to know? Is it correct? Did I miss anything up? What should somebody who's seen the first 2 seasons, what should they know?
Well, the thing is I don't know that you're supposed to know anything more than this. There is a lot more to it than that, but I don't know that you're supposed to. So I don't know if I should directly answer. I will say that there, just on your last statement there about the Dark One, what happened in the books is different than what we saw on the television show. Here, it seemed like in this long time ago, far away thing with Lews Therin, in this prologue that we had, it seems like that he tracked down and sealed all of these guys individually, all of these Forsaken individually,
right? That's
one
what
at
I
a
would
time.
assume. Yeah,
that's different from the way it is in the books. In the books, he actually is intending to just seal the Dark One away, but they're kind of having a meeting with the Dark One, and they all get sealed in there at the same time.
Oh, wow. So the Dark One is something you can have a meeting with. So this is good to know. Okay.
The Dark One, yeah, the Dark One does take meetings. His secretary is very strict, but yes, the Dark One does take meetings.
All right, good. Did I get anything wrong? Sorry, go, Priscilla.
I mean, from the show, like the information the show gives you is regarding the first war, the War of Power, as they call it. So it comes from the 8th episode, the first season, the prologue, and the prologue now of the second season, of the finale of the second season, and also Moiraine talks a little bit about it. So the information that you can safely take from the show is that Lews Therin and all these people, they were Aes Sedai.
Right.
They were Aes Sedai of the Age of Legends. And there was like they were fighting a war. There was like two sides of war. Lews Therin was in one side, the light side, and Ishamael was on the other side.
Even though they were friends, they ended up on the opposite side of this war. No,
the prologue from the first season was already about the war, about what to do. Remember, Lews Therin was talking to another Aes Sedai.
He was talking to a woman, and there was a baby there, a little girl, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So Lews Therin was the leader of the male Aes Sedai, because remember, back then, like the men, they could channel the one power. Exactly, without anything. And the female could access the other part. And so, but Lews Therin was the general. He was the one. He was the dragon, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so they fight. So they are opposite sides. So now in the second season, we have the information that Moiraine, that they were very friends, like with Lanfear, with Ishamael, and then the Dark One came and separate them for several reasons. There is also the other Forsaken, and Lews Therin, they sealed them all, and now they're being unsealed one by one. But the thing you asked if the Dark One could take a meeting. What the Dark One does, he thanks the male side, the male channel, the male channelers. And Lews Therin is like, I think he's the first one to be tainted, right?
Yeah, what happens there is, Priscilla, from what I gather from the books, the Dark
One gets pissed.
Yeah. Hey, Bubba, actually,
basically,
if you go,
it's a curse.
Okay.
Bubba, if you go to Amazon and you look at the Origin series, there's little extras. If you go to the season 1 tab of Amazon,
all right, okay,
there is a story of the breaking of the world, and it tells you exactly what happens there, which is very similar to what the story they're telling here in the television show.
Okay, is that, and maybe this is a Song of Ice and Fire, George R. R. Martin talking about, can I trust these things to be true, or is this what the legend is, and later I'll find out, oh wait, no, it's not quite like that.
That's a good question. The origin stories that I saw, and I believe there's 6 of them, all of them were reflective of the books, but dovetailed into the way that the show is incorporating that stuff. So I don't think there's going to, I think it's a good medium, as opposed to some of those things that you saw in the Game of Thrones extras where none of it really came to fruition later on, or it changed.
Well, it was told from people's perspective, and they might not know everything.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, these are told from perspectives, but they seem to be more in line with what the books are saying from an overall narration standpoint.
Wonderful. Okay, I got two more questions on this non-book reader question section. And that is, hey, we've just watched 16 episodes, season 1 and season 2 of The Wheel of Time. Can someone who's seen these first 2 seasons, can they pick up and read books 1, 2, and 3 and not spoil the upcoming Wheel of Time season 3? Like, what I hear is that these first 2 seasons generally are taking up the space of the first 3 books. So could a non-book reader pick up the first 3 books, read them, and not be spoiled for maybe an event that's going to happen in the next TV season? What do you think?
What do you think, Priscilla, about that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think what they are, they have elements of book 4, right, in this season. All right.
They have elements of book 3 for sure. But there is a location.
But book
that
4, do they have elements?
Well, I saw elements of the New Spring. I saw elements of book 5 and 6 in this, but those are kind of book reader Easter eggs. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't understand, Bubba. You wanted to be spoiled like a week or 2 ago. I don't know why you're asking now.
I never want to
spoiled.
be spoiled.
You said yourself, "Oh, this episode 6
sorry.
made me
right. It
want to be spoiled."
It did. It made me want to be spoiled, but I want to be good and not be spoiled. So that gets to my final question: is that
he's like Lutheran? He just has to be noble, overly noble. Well, but here's what I'm going to say to you. I believe that because of the way that this season wrapped up, I believe that a location that is prominent in book 3 isn't even going to be explored. But I can't guarantee that.
Yeah, it's true.
I can't guarantee that. So that's all I'm going to say to you there. So shield your eyes from spoilers.
No problem. Well, one final question as a non-book reader. Could somebody watch the first 2 seasons of this show and then suddenly just pick up book 4 and understand what's going on and know all the story?
That, I believe, is not the case. You might be able to discern. You wouldn't be too far in lagging it, but you would want to go back and reread some stuff from book 2 and 3 anyway, to make sure that you were in the place that you were. That's my opinion on that. What do you think, Priscilla?
Yeah, of course.
So we got two. You got 2 different opinions there. I don't think so, but.
Well, I want our listeners.
I think Bubba. I think he's
we'll put it on the poll.
Person. I think he can take it.
on Twitter. Should Bubba just start at book 4 and be done with all this non-book reader stuff?
Yeah, I want to know.
Bubba, at the rate that this series is going, you better start reading the book soon, because you and I are getting older, and we might not finish reading it by the time that. Okay, not you.
You want to be upgraded.
I'm not sure I'm even going to survive my reread.
Come on. Be a man of faith.
Well, I mean, if you wait till this, you're going to be waiting 14 years before this series is over at the rate that they're going, and then start reading the books. 15 books, 14 full books.
Yeah.
I mean, no, don't wait that long. That's all I'm saying.
He's a young man. He can afford to wait.
He's a rich man, so he can afford all of the IVs to keep him alive while he finishes Memory of Life.
Yeah, like that awful dude bro tech guy who is taking the blood of his son to be.
No. Listen. I'm like Barthanes, your favorite.
Your dark friend?
Oh, I love Barthanes. Yeah.
Barthanes, yes.
He's so nice, Bart. I want him back, season 3, but I'm not sure he survived. Do you think he survived, Matt?
I think for in the television show adaptation, he did.
He had such a good hair and good clothes. I really liked him. Yeah.
Very, very shallow, Priscilla. Hairs and clothes. That's all you care about. All right, Matt, let's get into this episode. Let's roll.
All right. Somebody spin the wheel for me, please.
All right, let's spin it. And it turns out Melissa won again.
No, not that wheel.
Oh,
spin
sorry.
the other wheel, the tiny wheel of topics, the
Sorry,
one
here
where
we
I can
go,
never
okay.
read what it says.
Here, we're going to spin it. This is going to be one where we are really going to have a debate between book readers, I think, and myself, in that the tiny wheel of topics ended up on Hopper is the bestest boy ever, and no one will ever top him. So this is talking about certainly so many storylines because they all converge together in that final episode. So Loyal, Intigar, Massima, Perrin, Avienda, Bane, Chiad, the White Cloaks, like everything that happened right there. And maybe we ought to start with Hopper, where not, I'm a dog person. I love wolves. I love dogs, but Hopper didn't get to do much other than die an ignoble death. She saved Perrin, which is wonderful, but ouch.
He was elevated in the end. He was like jumping.
Okay. You mean the spirit of Hopper was jumping.
The problem is you have a cold heart. Every time the show has an emotional moment, the show stops, has an emotion. It's like, go on with it. Why Moiraine and Lan have to make peace with each other? Why can't they just
I'm sorry.
stop? I just want to see some flesh coming out of the people's hand. That's what I want to see. Yeah. So
Bubba, I got to tell you, I've been podcasting with Priscilla for years.
Yes.
I've been podcasting with Priscilla for years, and I've never been called cold-hearted. I've been called stupid.
Okay.
I've been called all kind, ignorant. I've been called wrong, but I've never been called cold-hearted. That is awful.
We didn't have much time with Hopper. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm happy that a dog.
No,
we didn't have much time with Hopper.
If there is something that unites whole mankind, it's not like the fight against racism. It's not like the fight for equal rights. It's like people are against cruelty against animals. But no, Bubba's like, I don't want to see this again. Why is Hopper? Why is this dog here? He's not even a dog. He's an oaf.
That dog was a fantastic actor.
It was amazing. Yeah. So Bubba, yeah. We love Hopper.
I give up. It was the most heart-wrenching death I've ever seen. Okay.
Finally.
Yeah.
So let's get to their part of the battle. Now, I was kind of cold and said in my review of the season about how Avienda and the other Aiel didn't really feel like they had much to do. What did you guys feel about the role of Avienda and the Aiel in the big battle in Fall?
Yeah, that's one of those elements that they've brought in from book 3 into book 2. So placing them as far as adaptation would be difficult. But if these characters are going to be so important, not to spoil too much, but they're going to be so important in season 3 that you almost had to get to know them a little bit, even with that, that little bit of the Giotto scene with seeing Avienda's fighting skills against the White Cloaks back at Autumn's Mill. You needed to see all of that stuff so that you'll be really invested in where their storyline goes for season 3. So that was a long play kind of thing that really, I agree with you. It didn't pan out all that well for the overall, what do they get to do in terms of this season? So I don't think your complaint is bad there. I just think that if you see the long run of it, then you'll get, because I was excited just because they were there, because I know that storyline, right? So it was much easier for me to get into it, regardless of how much or how little they showed them, just because they are going to be important. So I get that. I do get that, Bubba.
Right. It's not that I didn't like them. It's just they really didn't seemingly play much in this particular story.
Right.
If you think about being a series, so they are like supporting characters that are going to be upgraded to regular in the 3rd season. So if you see, this is just an introduction. If you see from this point of view, then you understand that they were not meant to have a plot, like Varyn. very Sedai. She was there like the first half of the season, and a little bit sprinkled over, and then she pissed out after episode 7. She appeared.
Six.
Yeah, but she was not
7.
meant to be. No, 7. She appeared in the 7, but she's going to be upgraded in the future seasons. I don't know if season 3 she's going to be have a bigger role, I think. But anyway, if you just see them for what they are right now, then they're not meant to have a plot, so to speak. They're just meant to be introduced.
What about other aspects of this? What about Perrin himself? Because I feel like, even when he's talking to Ingtar, and Ingtar makes that statement about how we can hold off 50 men, one man could hold off 50 men in this area and everything. And Perrin says something like, it won't have to come to that. And he's also, Ingtar's remarking at how good the Aiel are at fighting. But Perrin really flips out over Hopper's death. And it's all thanks to Childvalda, my favorite character, who has reason.
Childvalda.
He has reason to be mad at Perrin.
He does, true.
Think of what Perrin did to him back at the White Cloak camp outside of Tar Valon. So he's got reason to be mad at Perrin, and he knows what Perrin is now, and he's just going to take care of that. He's going to do a little bit of a biopsy right there and find out what's inside Perrin. But it doesn't work out, and as a result, Hopper, the greatest hero of all heroes, the greatest wolf of all wolves, comes to Perrin's rescue, and then is axed down by Dane Bornhald's dad, who was really likable in this episode up until the time that he, essentially could not be likable anymore because he cut a dog in half. You don't do that, man.
That's true.
Childvalda isn't that important. He should have just accepted his losses, the way a good general does, and moved on, rather than killing poor Hopper. But that, of course, brings Perrin to a critical point to me in his story, where those yellow eyes, after he sees Hopper go into the mist, he changes. His Tuathalan ways are completely abandoned. He picks up the axe. And one of the things that I loved was that later, when Uno showed up and gave him the shield, that almost keeps that Tuathalan spirit alive in Perrin as a protector, not an enforcer. So I love those things about his character, because I really want Perrin to just give peace a chance.
He didn't, as once again, we spent a lot of time on this peace section last year. And then this year, I didn't feel much of that peace pull. Like anytime there was a need to stand up and fight, I saw Perrin do it. So obviously,
he didn't do very well at Autumn's Mill.
But he did fight. Like he didn't lay down his sword.
Well, they also laid down reasons for him to be angry because of those villagers, or that Pat and Fane killing those people.
I completely understand. I'm saying that I didn't feel the push to pacifism that theoretically I should have felt, I think, after last season, and we spent so much time on it.
Yeah, I don't think it was telegraphed. I agree with you there, for certain. But I did still feel it there, especially in that conversation with Ingtar.
Okay.
Well, he was certainly not like warrior-like the whole time.
Well, how is he going to be able to stay passive? I feel like I can speculate since I haven't read ahead. How is he going to be able to be passive if now he's got the White Cloaks after him for killing their leader, right?
Right.
He's going to have to either run, or he's going to have to stand up and fight.
This was gone. Huh? They killed Hopper. His whole life changed, Bubba. Don't you understand?
Sure.
This is like him, dropping the Buddhism act and becoming full blown, I don't know, Templar warrior or something.
I
Hell
disagree, though,
yeah.
Priscilla. I think
I think
that we'll
so. I
still
think
continue
he
to
will
see
go
that
on a
inner
killing
battle,
spree.
especially in the next season. I think that inner battle will
Yeah.
continue. And especially given what you and I know about who also ends up in the place that Perrin ends up at.
Matt, we have to promise Bubba violence, otherwise he won't watch anymore.
Well, there will be violence.
Or promise me more dead dogs.
Okay, so anything
Wow.
else about Loyal? Let's talk about Loyal. He got his Samwise Gamgee moment. He got to do the end of the Two Towers speech about all of us being the heroes of today.
I did like that. I did like that line. It wasn't much of a speech, but that point I thought was great. And I was like, hell yeah, Loyal, let's roll.
Yeah. What you have to consider is that, and this was kind of a nod to this, although it didn't directly say it, but Loyal's role in the books is he wants to document what's happening with these Taviran, right? He's kind of like the guy writing the series that we all read in a way. So that's one of the things that I love is that, he's starting to form his words, and he'll write that into his little book that people will read later on under the pseudonym of Robert Jordan.
Loyal, pick a better surname than Robert Jordan. That's kind of boring.
He doesn't know much about names other than Ogier names, so he just picked an easy one because it would be easy for him to remember.
He sure did. Should I at least once again speculate a bit? This Missima was played by a very popular character from the TV show The Last Kingdom. When you talk about people who really didn't have much to do this season, he didn't have much to do. He did get to look and see the dragon being announced or reborn on top of the tower. So I'm going to assume, here's my official prediction, he's going to have stuff to do next season more than maybe just be a muscle, another fighter.
I like that prediction. I won't confirm or deny, but I like that prediction. So. You get that look in your eye when you're looking up at the Dragon Reborn, and that tells you that there's something going on there, right? So,
possibly, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because
he found Rand very charming at that moment.
Well, I think he did. He looked like a kid gazing up at an astronaut. That's what he looked like to me.
It was like, oh my God, this man.
Yeah, a kid looking at an astronaut. That's a little old of a example there, Matt. How about he looked like a kid looking at a famous TikToker?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's upgrade our references. Are you on
TikTok? Always, 24/7.
Moiraine and Lan. Go ahead, Priscilla. Tell us what you want to tell us about it. I know you said a lot already at the beginning of the podcast, but is there anything else you want to additionally add here?
I think Lan, he recovered from his depression, and he went to be by Moiraine's side. But as anybody, he would like to discuss it. And I thought that his need to discuss whatever happened between the two of them was very understandable. I don't know if that time was the best time, though, like in the middle of the beach. I don't know. But I understood. My point is, I understood where Lan was coming from, and I understood Moiraine's point of view coming from also. The thing that really got me was the emotional between them, the emotional, like this bond that was not there anymore. So it's not the link between the Aes Sedai and the Ward. It was their friendship. So I could feel the friendship being restored even before Moiraine let Lan in again, if that makes sense. Because how long they spent together, like searching for the Dragon Reborn, like years on end. So it's not. As far as I understand, the warders they get a lot of perks from being bonded to an Aes Sedai, and you can see the moment he's bonded, and then the way that he fights the Shancheng, he got like an upgrade of his skills. But there was more there. There was more to that. As Matt said, Moiraine doesn't do much in book 2. But one thing that she does do is like she thinks a lot about her relationship with Lan and what to do with it. And at some point, she keeps asking herself, like, why they never got romantic with each other. And that's like one of the few passages that really stuck to me in the book series so far, because she's analyzed. It was like it would have been so much easier if we were married to each other, like the whole relationship, but they were not. So in the book in the show canon, this obviously is not possible because she is with Swan for most part. So this questioning of her is not possible.
Right.
But like the heart of the scene is them becoming as close as you can get from one another.
Right.
Without being romantic involved. And I think this is much stronger to me than if they were. And I keep thinking about Nynaeve and Lan, because they are going to have they still have this unsolved relationship. They didn't share anything this season. There was only one mention of Nynaeve to Lan when he was speaking to Alana.
Well, they shared a whole life together in an arch.
No, but that was like a dream sequence, right?
I don't know. Is the arch a dream or is it another world?
I think. Do you think Lan knows that he lived the whole life with Nynaeve? To Lan, he just like had a hookup with Nynaeve. That he's in love with her in the first season. He doesn't know that he had a daughter with her.
Well, I was speaking more from Nynaeve's point of view. Correct.
All right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about Lan. So this whole this whole season has been Lan thinking about Moiraine all the time. And they are not even together. So
but he's her better. He has to think of her like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to just how they can top that. Because it was so beautiful, the whole thing. And even it got me rambling. And I was like, oh my God, how are they going to make me fall in love with him and Nynaeve, for instance?
I will say this. One of the things that's most interesting in the new spring is you actually see, you read about the bonding happening in the new spring, which is book 0 of The Wheel of Time, which I wouldn't even recommend anybody read until after they've read book 5, at least. So because it didn't get published till like it was the 10th or 11th book that was published, or the 10th or 11th novella that was published. And there's a lot of things in there that make more sense if you've read all of 5 of those books. Anyway, you had the bonding thing happen, but it was really kind of nondescript in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so to actually see that, and, the emotion of what led up to it, the fact that, she had been holding to her oaths, except for that one time when she told two completely different stories, one to Lan and one to Perrin, about how she knew she was going to decide her warder. So I don't know, maybe unless it was both occasions.
You said that, yeah.
But otherwise, she can't seem to lie about anything. So the only way, I thought that was nice. It was a little cheesy, but it was very nice. But the actual bonding itself, the music was beautiful. I didn't talk about it in the music analysis this week, but Balfe did a fantastic job with that. It was too long, though. It took too much time away. There's more time that we could have had. There's more time that we could have had with other characters. This is my problem with the way that Rafe adapts everything to one question. A whole season to one question. This was about Moiraine. Is she stilled? Is she not stilled? Now we see this. This is the payoff. Lan was faithful because he believed that she was shielded, not stilled. And this is the payoff. And too much time is spent there when we could have seen Loial and Ingtar and Massima be helped by Lanfear to get the horn of the Lear
The lady,
out.
Kyrie, yeah, it's true. It's true.
So that's the problem
It's
that I
true.
have with this kind of stuff. And the opening credits, they're beautiful. They probably cost a lot of money. I didn't need them. I hadn't needed them all season.
Hey, I needed them. I wanted them. I got them. They were right to be there. And I mean, you had 7 episodes with that gave you a minute extra with these characters, and they only gave me the title sequence on the last episode, so I would take that, and I don't want to see any more complaints, because I'm like that. I don't have a cold heart. What can I say?
I thought I was a softie. Wow. What did we think of Moiraine's being able to stretch her powers out over miles?
I didn't mind it. She was killing the villains. I was all for it.
It just seemed like it was way bigger set of space.
She was using the currents, the streams. Well, how do you say in English?
Yeah.
The water streams.
She wasn't using it to put up the banner. Didn't go through the ocean there.
She used the air streams to put up the banner. Like,
okay.
Obviously.
All right. It just seemed a little bit too powerful for someone who had just gotten her powers back. Although she did say that when he said she was moving quickly, it was like buckets had been taken off of her. So maybe that's the excuse as to why she was so powered up.
Matt, there is a theory out there that it was actually because Lanfear told her to raise the banners. Right? Remember, in the ways Lanfear told her?
So they're saying that Lanfear helped her?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, they said like because there is a shot that you can see like 2 weaves from.
No, she's pulling the fire. She's pulling the fire off of the boat. That's what creates the dragon. It's the fire that's already on the boats. It's not anything to do with Lanfear. She wouldn't be out there anyway. I'm just killing this theory.
I'm just telling you the theory.
And I'm just telling you that I'm killing this theory right now.
Yeah, kill them. Both of you are so violent.
And I killed dogs.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, that's Bubba.
Yeah. How did I get pulled into this fight? I said it was fine. I enjoyed seeing her destroy the villains, even if it's from way down the beach. I don't care. I wanted them dead, so I don't mind it.
So Moiraine loses a lot of time destroying villains. Bubba says, okay, Moiraine loses time hugging Lamb. Bubba says, no, please stop that.
Yeah, do something interesting. That's fine. Don't reconcile in a real undramatic way that I already know you're going to and I've known you were going to reconcile for episodes, and now you're going to reconcile in an uninteresting way. I'm sorry. Next subject. I can't talk about this anymore.
All right.
Yeah, let's go away. Yeah, I agree. Let's go.
It land on the opposite of Moiraine and Lan, something everybody agrees on. It's Lanfear. She is perfect. Yes, she didn't get everything she wanted in this episode, and everything she wants is our boy Rand. But she did a million wonderful things. She totally blindsided Ishmael. She totally got her at the time biggest opponent off the board. She proved her use to Rand, even if she, at the end of the season, isn't like on a slow boat to Romanceville with Rand. She proved her worth to him. He's not going to, stab her with a bleeding sword anytime soon. He's not going to seal her back up in one of those seals that everybody was captured in. I think it was a great year for Lanfear. We met her here in season 2. She's one of the newer characters. She's certainly one of the most successful characters. When she is on the screen, the audience is interested, even though she's an antagonist, even though she's a villain. She's a villain where, at the very least, you understand her motivation. She wants her man. And so have her on the screen always. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I agree with you. Lanfear, she is the like, in her mind at least, she is the one who needs to have this perfect guy for them to rule the world. So she's working. What Lanfear is doing, she's working towards making Rand this guy, which was Louis Theron. So all this work that Lanfear has been doing is to make Rand into a man worthy of her, for them to rule the world, because she's so amazing in her own mind too. And funny enough, all the male characters that bump into her seem to think the same, because she's the lady from Korea. She got Gai'don to wait for her on the boat. She got even like dear old Loyal. He trusted her to get the horn for him. So everywhere you go with Lanfear, men do what she wants. Rand is the one that is like pulling a little bit fight, but he's already said that he loves her. Now her whole arc that we didn't know that it was doing, because it was all behind the scene, was to make Rand as great as Rand could be. And Ishamael was on her way, and she is going to get her things. And unfortunately, Ishamael noticed that. So that was the only but in her plan. But everything else, she got it. Because she's a get girl. She gets what she wants all the time, every time, except for the dragon.
One of the things that Lan and Moiraine discuss is the fact that Moiraine says that the Forsaken fight very much amongst themselves. So, is Lanfear actually just trying to get Rand and make actually Rand defeat the Dark One? Or is she still beholden to her oaths for the Dark One and moving Ishamael off the board because Ishmael's plan makes it worse for her and Rand, whereas her plan, her and Rand can probably be more in power together? I think that is the question to ask. And when we see Moghedien at the end of this episode, Moghedien's like, spider, baby, you are out of the equation. The rest of us are going to take care of this, because all of them are fighting against each other, trying to get to that number one spot, to be that spot that Ishamael was at, that lieutenant. And they're not going to let Lanfear ruin their plans, their chance to ascend to being at that number one spot. So I think that what we're seeing here throughout the course of the season now, as we realize, as Lanfear's been pulling a lot of these strings, is Lanfear is still very much working for her, but she's also working for the Dark One. That's what I think is going on there.
Matt, I wouldn't have read it that way at all. In fact, until you said it, I had never considered that. To me, now, of course, maybe if we're supposed to meet this Dark One and I could see Lanfear and the Dark One together, I could see that thought process. But because I haven't got any information that way, to me, I thought even the Dark One, even the most powerful, dark shadow in the world, he says, do something that's not going to allow her to end up with Rand. She'd be like, forget it. That's the way I read the character. And that's the way I read her goals. So I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it.
Ishamael actually got what he wanted, right? I mean, he just wanted everything to go away.
Yeah, at least at this time, we don't know if he's coming back.
That's true. He could come back.
He could come back as an evil baby.
He'll be a little late for this one if he comes back. I don't imagine he'd get spun out by the wheel again until the next time that all this stuff happens. Unless Rand finds some way to break the wheel without breaking the world at the same time.
I have an amazing idea. I don't want this to happen, but imagine if the series gets canceled, they just have to add like a post scene of the dragon getting crazy and breaking the wheel. And it was like immediate resolution of the series. No, I'm sorry. I'm just joking. I don't want this to happen. Please. I want my 8 seasons.
You earned a Holly fake laugh with that one. The other thing about Lanfear that is pretty interesting to me is the fact that she is in a really bad spot now. There are 5 others besides Moghedien who have basically told her to stay out of the way. So now she's in a conflict between whether even if what Bubba says is true and there's no indication of what her plan was, she still wanted to be with Rand, obviously.
Right.
That is being foiled. They're telling her, you stay the heck away.
She's, unless something is untrue based on what I've seen she's not going to stay away. Yeah, somebody says stay away. She won't care. She won't listen. She has her goal.
It's a lot easier to manipulate one person, such as Ishmael, or to betray one person than it is to betray 6.
Oh, well, I'm not saying it's not going to be difficult, but I would not, to me, it would not ring true if she didn't try. Once again, I'm not saying it's not difficult. It's fun at the end of the season for her to be like, oh no, Rand, Lord help you, you're in trouble. I think that's fun. But when somebody is so driven as she is, 100 Forsaken, yes, it's going to make her task difficult, but I don't think her goal would suddenly change and stop.
Okay. Well, she also, she pretty much told Ishmael from the first time we saw the two of them met, it's like, I'm going to betray you. So, of course, Ishmael had it coming, and that's why he unleashed this emergency plan, break glass in case of emergency. Here's 6 Forsaken, you deal with them. So I want to know, Bubba, what you thought of Moghedien. What did you think of Mogi, baby?
Obviously, she's just the last thing we see of the season, not in it very much. She's almost obsessed with her catchphrase, like, yeah, we get it. Yeah, softly, softly from the shadows, or whatever her catchphrase is. She just repeats it so much, it's a bit ridiculous. But she is definitely a great addition. Why? Because once again, she's a great addition because of how Lanfear reacted to her, how she, could kind of nullify Lanfear for a bit. So I think she's great, this actress. I'm not sure I've ever seen her before. I believe she's a Spanish actress, but this is what we need. The stakes have to come raising. It has to be more difficult for our heroes. Our heroes have reached one level of power, so their obstacles have to be up and, reach a higher level. And this seems like a great obstacle. I'm excited for it. And, let's go. Once again, this was a great ending. Even the clunkiness I talked about, this was a great ending for letting us say, okay, the story was at, level 2. It's about to go to level 4, level 5, and higher and higher and higher. So I'm glad she's here. I that is a great ending to the season. And I bet, once again, I don't even know book readers. I didn't read the book, but I bet a million book readers like, oh yeah, that's how you end a season. That's how a show works. Last season, as fun as it was for book readers to suddenly see this, tidal wave hit the beach, as a non-book reader, I didn't feel too much. I didn't get a sense of, oh, okay, this will, I knew it would be trouble, but
once again, you were heartless, killing little girls.
It was abstract. It was abstract. Like, I don't know the map well. Where are they? It was unstrapped. Our heroes weren't anywhere near an ocean. This is not abstract. This, I understand exactly what the stakes are. This is oh no, here we go.
Now, if memory serves, we started this coverage of season 2 with Bubba asking for more children to be murdered.
Yes.
And we are ending with yeah. So yep. I don't think, just to let you know, Bob, I don't think they are going to start season 3 with murder, like with child murder. So you can please don't get your hopes
Maybe
up.
They did kind of in the season.
We never saw that little girl again from the dark, from the Dark Friend Social. We never saw her again.
No,
we never saw the kids with the incense either in this episode. They're all dead.
Yep.
They're dead. Okay.
Wonderful. 10 out of 10.
So 4 children were killed in this Okay. And a dog. That is not a dog, a wolf. Yeah. Okay.
I want to say this.
Wow.
And I don't even know if Priscilla is there yet, but I do want to say that Mogadeen is absolutely one of my favorite Forsaken.
Wow.
You told me that.
Wow.
Absolutely not. And I said that probably in a book podcast at one point or another, but I don't, I mean, it was a complete surprise to me that she was the one who would show up. I thought that they might release another one, just like one more or whatever, not all 6.
Well, Matt, do me a favor. Do non-book readers like me a favor? Rank them. Who's higher, Lanfear or the new one?
Well, I think it all depends on what book you're reading, to be perfectly honest. But Lanfear overall is a majority of the fandom's favorite. Mogadeen runs a close second, I would say. Although there are a couple of the gentlemen that everybody likes too. So I know that Priscilla has experienced at least one other male if she's getting into book 4, although she may not know it yet. And I don't think that she's experienced Mogadeen yet. But I think that's maybe in book 4 or maybe not be till book 5. But I will say that Mogadeen is, even though nothing like I imagine Mogadeen to be, the in terms of just Leia Costa did just such a fantastic job, because Mogadeen doesn't come across quite that creepy to me in the book. She comes across much more calculating and really, really good at what she does. So that was a little strange, her sniffing Lanfear. But all that intimidation stuff worked. And I can't wait to see what this actress Leia Costa does with this character, because she's off to a great start to make me really interested. Because first of all, I'm interested in the name. Second of all, now this portrayal has really got me going, this is going to be fun. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see some upcoming conflicts with Mogadeen that will be epic. I guarantee it. Almost as epic as the battle in the sky that would and didn't happen, should have happened and didn't happen.
But like something that, like in books, is not that important, like the villains overall. If you read
actually, the villains are very one-dimensional, but Mogadeen's one of them that isn't.
No. I'm talking like overall, like in terms of adaptations. You like a villain might be like inconsequential in a book, that it's just focusing on the journey, the hero's journey. But once you turn to an adaptation of a series, in particular, a TV series where you have to get invested, they like, if you can make a villain very interesting, very compelling, like it goes so much up, the storytelling.
And this show has done that very well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The thing that we talked about a lot about the romantic relationships in the season 1, how they upped them, and how better, like, that makes you understand the characters.
I hated that.
No, I like it.
I know.
The second season, they did that service to the villains. They're really good villains now.
Yeah, I agree. Bubba, do you appreciate the fact that they've spent as much time with these villains, with Ishmael, with Lanfear, with Mogadeen, the way that they have?
This season, Lanfear, once again, she's introduced in season 2. By the end of it, maybe by the halfway point, she's like a top tier character you want to spend time with. The villains of Ishmael, who only got introduced in one episode in season 1, you wanted him to die. As a non-book reader, I wanted him gone. He was evil. He was the worst. He's gone. At the end of this season, he's great. These terrible villains, and what they did to Egwene, I hate them. So I don't care if Moiraine did it from a different continent. She burned their ass boats. Hell to the yeah. This show has done a great job with the antagonists, with the villains.
And folks, we are way over 70 minutes, and we still have so much more to talk about. So please return for part 2 of our coverage of the finale. Don't forget, you can send emails to mattsaudioblog@gmail.com, MATTS audioblog@gmail.com. Melissa Nola, 7:30. I want to hear from you so that I can get you that gift card. Send a post on X Twitter to @BusBlockbuster or to all of Double P Media's socials at the word double the letters PHQ. That includes X Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Facebook, facebook.com/the word double the letters PHQ. Or you can leave comments on our YouTubes. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Bubba and I will be joined by Susan to cover the final season of The Crown on Netflix starting in November. So you want to say subscribe to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/the word double the letter P, the word media. And don't forget that Priscilla has her own YouTube channel. Please check that out, youtube.com/c/PriscillaTV1. We'll be back with part 2 soon. Thanks for sticking with us.
Send emails to mattsaudioblog@gmail.com and find all back episodes and other information at mattsaudioblog.com. Part of Double P Media, doublepmedia.com.